How's it going, guys? It's Deadmano here, and I thought I would show you guys a quick, well, probably not going to be too quick, of a example, or I guess a intro into what I get up to on an almost day-to-day basis as I create the mods that I do. In this case, we're looking at Skyrim XP add-on, and I'm busy working on the version 2.0 update, which hopefully we released later today. So yeah, let's take a look at how I have things set up. So obviously I'm using Trello to keep things nice and organized, and obviously I need a way to stay focused. Not that I have any issues with that, but I feel there's this really cool app called Pomelo that I just found yesterday, actually, that can like keep track of the amount of tasks that you've done, the amount of distractions that you may have gone through, and the amount of time that you spent on a task. I mainly like it because of the task tracking capabilities. For example, one of the largest features in 2.0 will be the option to disable XP activities, and you can see here that took me about an hour and 49 minutes, probably more because I only started tracking earlier today. But yeah, let's have a look. So currently what I'm busy with, I'm going to set my activity now to, we're not going to take a break because I've been on a break setting this up. So we're doing add XP activities number 2. So let's do it. So we got 25 minutes, you know, the standard Pomodoro timer. So, oops, over here. These are activities that need to be added. So let's have a look at that. This is a list of my activities I currently have. These form part of the crafting tab, so they're pretty much all of these, and potions, we've already done those. So let's quickly go to the stats that are relevant for us, which is the multipliers, and we're going to go and add them now. So first thing we want to do, we just want to filter out to the actual mod event handler. This is where obviously all the data gets stored for Skyrim XP add-on, and then the new thing that I've added is obviously the activity state, whether or not this XP activity is enabled or enabled or disabled by default. And all of these are optional because I feel, you know, like crafting, creating items is something that you should decide whether or not you want to be rewarded. So there's core activities that are enabled by default and then optional. So obviously you see like people killed and stuff like that, that's all optional because you may already be rewarded for that in some other sense. But I feel things like quests and your persuasions, books read, etc. all forming part of the core, and obviously you can decide that for yourself. That's why I'm giving you the option to enable or disable them. So let's go and add these along. We're going to add all these to false. So we've got, how many? This is 8 records. So we're going to have to add 8 new elements to the array. So I'm just going to go to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that brings us to 35 elements. Then the next thing we're going to do is want to change the tracked stat count. This tracks how many times of this activity you've performed. So we're going to go and take that to 8 as well. Then we need to do the stat name. This is how it appears exactly in the game that is being tracked. So I need to be exact, so I'm just going to go and copy and paste that. Really simple enough. Magic items, weapons improved, weapons made. So it's pretty, I would say, standard process once I've got this set up. Obviously the scripting behind this is that handles all the magic. It iterates through all these arrays and finds out the exact location in the index and all that. I think I'll be able to show you that once this is done. So there we go, we got the 35. Then what we need to do is have the notification message that gets shown. So I haven't really put too much, you know, fanciness behind this. It's pretty straightforward. So we're just going to go and be like, you know, the singular version of this. So soul trapped. What's the next one? So magic item made. Weapon improved. And this can obviously all be changed at some later point if need be, but for now I'm just trying to get this into the game, get all the activities out there, and then work on improving. Whoops. Close that. Hit enter by mistake. So armor made, just 2 more. Potion mixed and poison, right? Poison mixed, yeah. So this is obviously what will be displayed as the intro notification message. What I mean by that is if we go to my functions list and we go to, should be up here, depending on the existing one, or if you're going to set a random XP value. So here it will give you a notification of the notification message index, which is this, the index of it. So notification message is the array, and then the index is the location. So it's going to loop through this, and then let's say it was a potion, it'll be 34. So notification message 34 plus the random XP, which is calculated in the formula, plus XP. So then your notification will read like poison made plus 300 XP, or whatever the case is. Okay, so let's just double check we've done that. We've got 35 here, and our track stat count is 35, our notification message is 35, and poisons. Okay, so our array elements match up, very important for displaying the data. The next part into it now, wait, I've done that. So now our defaults, let's just go back here, mark this as done so we know it's done. So these have all been added now. Cool, that's great. And then I will just go here and I will mark that as complete, and I will add it into the development. So XP activities 1 is done. And then obviously we can pick up another task, but the main thing I'm going to be working on now is the defaults. When the game starts, setting default values in case you would want to do them. So right here at the bottom I have a function that sets the default state of the activities, and as you can see here I've mapped them out. So I'll just go and then call the location of activity state and set a true, 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 false, 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 whatever the defaults are. I've got a list here of the ones that we just did, and we got up to, well, it's going to be the crafting, yeah? So this is what we need to add. So let's just copy and paste this pretty quick. That's going to change the index of 28. This is going to be an index of 29. So there are obviously much more efficient ways that I can run through this, but I find for myself personally I like to have an overview of what exactly it is at a glance. So I can come here and see this mapped out and be like, okay, 32 is armor improved, or whatever the case is. And whoops, I have complete control over what is and isn't disabled from the start of the game, which we're going to set now. Poisons. And we're back. Sorry about that. I accidentally turned off recording because unfortunately I'm using the numpad 5, and when I try to set this, obviously shut down the recording, so I'm going to use the numerical keypad 5 to complete this. So now that we've added the final activity state to this, we're going to be calling this function from our config file over here, and I already have it in here, and we just need to set the boolean to the activity state, which will be DMN SXPA EH for our event handler that holds our boolean data. So that's done, and we can just go and compile those, the config and the functions. And then all that needs to happen now, wait, let's go and mark off these activities as added. So souls trapped we've done, magic items, all of these have been done. and so this will be actually version 2.0 because of the new additions and the complete rewrite. So just go and change these and add these to 2.0 so I can keep track. There we go. That should be everything. Yep, that's done. So now we have the tracking activity categories that will be added, obviously, where you can disable your chosen XP activities, and I've added the categories. The only thing is some of these are incomplete. They will be added in the next update, obviously, like Weapons Disarmed and Brawls 1, but these are all part of the general category, and I believe under general I haven't added everything, so that's going to be fine. It's only these standard ones. Magic, that's all been added in this update. All the quests have been added as well. Just confirm up until quest lines. Yeah, that's been added. And then we have combat. These have all been added up until automatons. Yeah, that's done. So the only thing left that shouldn't be showing, I think, is crime, because we haven't done that, and that's locks picked and whatnot, because magic's been done. Oh, crafting, just confirm crafting is done. 1 and 2 armor made up until wings plucked. Yeah. So the only thing left is crafting and the rest of general. So we don't want, sorry, crime and the rest of general. So we don't want crime showing, because obviously this would be pointless to show if you can't change them. So what I'm going to do is, I think the easiest option under the categories is to set a condition that will never evaluate to true, therefore it will never show. So I think the easiest would be is like is in list, and then we can set it to yeah, moss plant types, why not? So if this is in the list of moss plant types, show, which should never happen, and obviously I'll remove that in the next update. I mean, I could completely remove it now, but I've already got the code and functionality in under the configurator menu, and geez, I'm already at 1,208 lines of code. So you can see, I can also show you a quick peek as to how this happens in the case of crime. So if you've chosen the menu item, we set the button to show you the menu item, and your choices will affect what I button turns into and what option gets selected. So for example, let's say I button at the index of 0 in crime. Let's have a look at that. Crime, index of 0. You see it would be locks picked. So lock picked. Or 1 would be items pickpocket, 2, whatever. So let's say you chose locks picked. That would be at the index of 0. So what we're doing is setting the activity name to locks picked, setting the index of this activity with a new function, get XP activity index, which we're basically saying, okay, take this name, which is the name here, and this is the stat name of the index, and then loop through the stat name index, find this activity name, which is locks picked, and then return what index it's at. So if it's at index 13, 14, or whatever the case is. In fact, if I go ahead and show you in the terms of lock picked, so we're going to go to stats name, and then locks picked. Obviously I haven't added this yet, but if it was here it would be like 34, 33, or whatever the case is. So we would return that. And then the last thing is setting the activity state, which is get the current activity state. This is the array. The index is what we've already found, and then the stat name. And then we basically check, is it on, true, or is it off, disabled, false? And then right here at the end of all this, we're basically saying if the activity state is enabled, because of the whole toggle option, the way it's set up, I'll show you in game, is when you select it, you toggle its state. So if its state was enabled, you're going to set its state to disabled. Else, if it was disabled, we're going to set it to enabled. And then we're showing a message basically of what is shown. I found that was the quickest, neatest, and easiest way to do it. That wouldn't obviously overcomplify, sorry, make things far more complicated. Okay, so let me go ahead and save this now, and then let's give it a try in game, and then you can see firsthand what this looks like. Let's try to get this minimized. And just wait for Skyrim to load in. So yeah, that's pretty much what I get up to. Some days are a little bit more hectic due to all the coding. I rather wanted to show you what I call the fun side, especially the QA testing right now that we're doing. So I'm going to load up version 1.2.0, which is the last version that you guys have. That's what I always do. I test to ensure that everything works as it should every time. Okay, so it's detected the new things that have been added. Now we can go to our configurator, and you'll notice now tracking options have been changed to have two options. The tracking type, which is what you guys were used to before as tracking options, where you could turn off the active tracking or the passive tracking. And then we've got the tracked activities, which is what has been added now in version 2.0. And here you'll have the categories. As you can see, crime's not showing because we set a condition that will never evaluate to true, which is exactly what we want for this version. So let's have a look at our current state to also see if our setting default values worked. Yeah, and it did. Look at that. So we've got true, 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 and false, and then obviously the rest of the things like combat and everything is false. I believe these last parts are the crafting that we added. So let's go and test to see if that actually works. As you notice, these are all false at the end. So we're going to go to crafting, and you can see this is listed, and it just fits in. As far as my testing, I tried also under 1080p, and I think the UI does scale, so I'm hoping there's no overflow issues. If there is, I'll just split this into 3 menus, but currently it's 2 menus. So this is crafting activities, as you can see, page 1, and then you've got a button here that will take you to page 2 for the rest of the activities, and then previous menu will take you back to 1, previous menu again will take you back to the activity categories. So let's go into crafting, and let's go and enable souls trapped. So let's see if we can figure it out. I have no idea where it's going to be in this list. So there we go, toggle souls trapped XP gain to enabled. And now if we go and try to find this state, and there it is. It's set to true. So let's go ahead and try to enable all of these, and let's say if we can get them all to true. So magic items made, weapons improved, weapons made, armors improved. So the way I've set this up is really fast, and it happens on the fly, so you can just literally go and bam 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 bam. The MCM is going to be even easier, where you can literally just click things and it works, but I think for now this is a good compromise. I can't remember if these are on by default. I think I had them on. They would make sense. Combat is definitely not on by default, so we go ahead and turn those on. Quests are on by default. General, these are on by default. I think that should be everything. So there may be something we're missing. These 2 and this 1 and these 4. Oh, the magic may be disabled actually. Let's see what it says. Oh, okay, these were disabled by default. That's strange. I would have thought I would have had them on as core. I'm gonna have to reevaluate that. For quests, oh right, miss quest is off. And I think that's it. So we're still missing something, but all of these are true now. What could it be that we're missing? True. These are the initial ones. Oh, is it the intimidation and stuff like that under general? Persuasions? No, it's not persuasions. That's strange. Obviously I wouldn't know what the indexes are, so I'm like literally guessing, but this state obviously does work. So what we can do now to test, what can we test? Something for crafting, I guess, that's new. But I don't have anything because it's a test character. We can obviously do the magic word of power unlocked. That's, well, shouts unlocked and whatever, so we can just toggle map markers, and then let's go to like Elders Peak and get the word of power. Yes, very humble starting test character. What? Okay, so let's see if this works because it's enabled. And there we go, new word of power learned. How's it going, guys? You caught me literally in the last few seconds of my short break. I had to cut the previous video short, but on the plus side, you're here to join me for some actual scripting. My Pomelo, unfortunately, is being like the mafia right now. Get back to work! So I just created a new task. I noticed something that's going to be needed for the update. I'm glad I noticed it now. That's why I obviously test everything before I release thoroughly. And we need to handle the functions that hand out XP to take into account the states of the Boolean, which we're not doing right now. So even if you disable the things via the configurator, it's still going to give you XP. So we're going to pick that as a task, and we're going to say do it. But before we do, I just want to make sure that any other changes get pushed, because we want that as a separate one. So we've done this now. So these are all part of one, and we can just say added function to handle XP activity state defaults. We're going to commit these, and we can push them as well. Alright, so we're ready. Let's do it. Okay, so the first thing we need to do, let's go into our functions, and under set random XP, where it hands out, you just got to figure out where it's going to be the cleanest and fastest. So I could loop through, but we're already looping through. Ah, right. Update count. This is coming from get random XP value. So get random XP value is called by update player stats. Right, so if the stat value is greater than our track stat count, then we would obviously set that, which is fine. We still want to track the stats even if you've disabled the XP gain. So what we're going to want to do is add another if here. So we're going to add another if here, and we're going to get the Boolean from the event handler. And I'm going to have to probably pass this on, so it's going to have to be here, oh dear. So every single update, every function that utilizes this is going to have to be changed. But hey, at least you now get to see firsthand what it takes for me to do all of this. So let's do it. So boo bActivity XP state, bXP activity state. So that's going to have to be referenced. And then if bXP activity state, now we need to get the index, which we already have, luckily. So that's that name, yeah. So we can literally do if bXP activity state and the I index, if it's true. Yeah, so if whatever the stat is true, there we can hand out XP. And then just end the if here and indent these so that it looks all pretty. I think that's literally all I have to do in this case. Literally just check for the state, and if it's true, we'll give you XP. So the only thing that needs to change is update player stats. Wherever this is called now needs to change. So let's search for where this is used. Okay, so it's not used here. I'm just checking out player alias. It is used here. So all that needs to happen is, where did I add? The activity state is before the float, which is the SXPA modifier. Yeah. So we're just gonna add Deadmano SXPA dot, and that should literally be it. So I'm gonna copy this. And now we have this. So the player alias was changed. I don't call it in here. The event handler does call it. So before the SXPA modifier, alright. This is obviously without it because we're passing it directly. So that is changed. And our config script, do we call it here? Yes, we do. This is player stats count, so we don't need to update that one, but this one does need to be updated to take into account the activity state. And that is all. So it was literally the functions that need to be updated, the player alias, the event handler, and the config script. So let us go and update those scripts now. So the functions, oops, we got an error. Yay! Only arrays can be indexed. 9, 3, 10. Yeah, it is an array. What did we do wrong? Did we not? Oh, I called this as an so we didn't pass this in as an array, we passed it in as a single boolean. So now it's an array. Thank God for the compiler. So that should be fine. And then the player alias and the event handler, and hopefully the creation kit doesn't crash on me. It loves to do this after a few scripts are compiled. And the config. Yes! So we are done with that part, and now obviously the testing comes into play. So we need to disable something, and then we need to test if we still get XP for it. So let us go and do that now. I think I'm going to test with the what should we test with? Maybe an animal? So we find an animal. That sounds bad now. Find an animal and kill it. A wolf. Wolves are assholes. Wolves are the assholes of Skyrim. Like, how many people like wolves, right? So hopefully no one is against me axing some wolves a few questions, you know. Dad jokes. And we got time to spare. There was only like 7 minutes, was it? Oh, I feel like I'm missing something. Yeah, the other... No, that should be fine. We did the one function, but the update existing functions shouldn't really matter, I think. So let's go load up the version 1.2 clean. Okay, I think I'm converting something in the background. Just give me a second. Yep, that should be a bit better. So what we want to do now is find a wolf with my tester. Let's see. Well, don't really have much choice, do I? Let's put some rings on. Silver ring for some you know, fanciness. We're gonna die. It's gonna be awful. It's gonna be horrible. Wait, there's always a wolf down here in my testing. Hey look, a sky shard. Oh. Okay, so there's usually one down here. I don't think anyone's gonna hate me if I like turn some god mode on, but let's not. So this suddenly became a Skyrim Let's Play. Let's play find the wolf and kill it to ensure that we do not gain XP. I think there's a wolf down here. Should be a wolf down here. There we go. Right here. Oh, look at that! Oh man! Is he already like damaged? And we got no XP. Wow. Oh, I think those guys down there like probably shut him up. So let us now go to tracking options, tracked activity, combat, animals. That's an animal, right? Or a creature? Let's like turn them both on, because I'm not quite sure. I think wolves are animals. But I mean, you never know in Skyrim, right? I think creatures are like the farmer and whatnot. So let's try to find another wolf now. Yeah, I could go back and resurrect that one. But we can also go kill that goat there. I mean, poor goat. What did that goat ever do? Are you running out of land, goat? Oh god, goats can swim, what? I'm sorry, goat. This is for science. Please. Yes! The animal was defeated! So we got XP for that, that's really good. So, yeah. But I still want to find a wolf, because you know our quest is to find wolves and slay them, because that's what we do, right? I mean, it wouldn't be functional testing if... Oh, there we go. I will save you! Aha! Why don't you pick on someone your own size? No. And... animal defeated! I feel rather hungry right now. And I feel that a roasted goat leg would be absolutely delicious right now. You know, there's actually a mod out there that turns like flame damage or whatever and like cooks the items. Just thought I'd mention that. So that works, but let's see, does the disabling part work as well? So we're going to go to tracking options, tracked activities. We're going to turn them both off, animals killed and creatures killed. Great stuff. And then we're going to find the last goat, because he's a witness, and if we remove the last known witness, look at him, he thinks he can get away, and he thought he could just go into stealth by swimming away, but we're smarter than that, aren't we, guys? I'm just going to take a leap of faith down here, do some, you know, parkour, confuse the goat. Goat is absolutely terrified right now, and then do cue Jaws music. Da-dun, da-dun. It's having a bit of an issue there. And do we get any XP for that? Wait for it. Wait for it. Drum roll. Nothing. So that worked perfectly.